Hello, 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 and welcome to the continuation of the chakra system lessons. So I'm really excited. I know I said last week that I would give a little bit of a recap of everything that we've done so far, but I've actually changed my mind. I'm going to do a recap when we're done everything, and then we'll just do like an at a glance for everything that we've done so far. So now we are getting into the higher three chakras. So today is throat, and then it will be third eye and crown. So these ones here, these chakras are very metaphysical and spiritual and things of that nature. So you're gonna see me get into a little bit more of like the woo-woo stuff today, and you'll definitely be catching some of that on the next one as well, just because this is a very spiritual chakra. So the beautiful thing about the throat chakra is it's kind of the bridge between the heart and the throat. And that's like what's connecting the physical body, because as I said in the heart chakra one last time, is that the heart is kind of like the midpoint. So between the heart and the throat, it's kind of like the bridge. It's the gateway to the spirituality. It's the beginning of the metaphysical stuff. So let's get right into it. So the throat chakra, Sanskrit word is Vishuddha. And at a glance, the color is typically turquoise or any sort of blue. I personally really love, hold on. Oh, that's not the one I was looking for. So I don't have a piece of straight turquoise, but anything blue also works. So this is my Larimar stone. I really like this one. I feel like this one works really well as well. So your throat chakra is all about communication, right? So the key issues with this chakra is self-expression. The inner aspect of it is expression. And then if you remember, we do have 4 bodies. We have our physical, mental, emotional, and spiritual body. So what this chakra does for all of those bodies is in the physical dimension, it's communication. In the mental, it is fluent thought. In the emotional, it's the independence, and spiritual is security. And then the gland that it is most associated with is your thyroid and your parathyroid gland. And then your physiological system is the respiratory system. So we're going to get into how all of that ties together in just a moment. First, I just want to read quickly what the Crystal Reiki book has to say about it. So I'm just going to read you a little bit here. This is what tells you like what it's like when it's in balance, when it is deficient, and when it is excessive. So that's going to tell us like some of the signs and symptoms that you might be experiencing if there's anything wrong with the throat chakra. Not that there's anything wrong. If there's anything deficient, or if there's anything that's in excess, you'll be able to tell. You'll be like, oh, that kind of relates to me. Oh, that kind of relates to me. Then you'll kind of know like what's going on with that. So the throat chakra is situated in the center of the throat. It is blue and represents the ether element. It governs our ability to express ourselves and communicate with others, to listen to ourselves and others, and to be honest, authentic, and self-aware. It also governs our receptivity to higher guidance, divine messages, and spirits, our ability to manifest our spoken intentions and desires, and artistic creation. It is also the main energy center of the psychic ability of clairaudience, the ability to hear and articulate information from spiritual sources and to channel messages from spirits in mediumship. Related organs and parts of the body are the mouth, teeth, the throat, the thyroid and the parathyroid glands, the tonsils, and the nose. Hi, Kayla. So when the throat chakra is balanced, we are able to honestly and openly express ourselves, articulate ideas, beliefs, and concepts, and are aware of our own worth, truth, needs, and feelings. We are able to confidently express our needs and boundaries, ask for what we want, and put our creative ideas out into the world. At the same time, we are able to hear the needs and ideas of others, are actively engaged listeners, and are willing to consider what we are hearing. In spiritual work, we often hear guidance as it as though it had been spoken to us, and are able to listen to our intuition as well as to cultivate spiritual mediumship skills. So like I said, we're getting into the metaphysical chakras. So some things are going to sound a little woo-woo possibly to you, but just keep your mind and your heart open, okay? So when the throat chakra is deficient, we often experience an inability to speak up for our own needs, boundaries, or self-worth, and are afraid to ask for what we want. We are blocked and often repressed when it comes to emotional, intellectual, or creative expression. There's a reluctance and a resistance to being heard, being the focus of attention, or being acknowledged. And when called upon to speak, we have trouble effectively articulating ourselves. We are never ever willing to accept a compliment. A deficient throat chakra causes a great deal of self-denial and a lack of authenticity. And we are prone to deception, lies, or fibbing, often because we don't feel that expressing our truth is enough. We are vulnerable to congestive throat, nasal, and bronchial issues, as well as tonsillitis. So I thought that was really interesting because when I was a kid, I suffered from tonsillitis all of the time. It was never enough for them to remove my tonsils, but I was consistently on medication for tonsillitis. So when I read that yesterday, I was just like, that's interesting. I wonder how that relates. And then when the throat chakra is excessive, we feel unable to listen to, hear, or acknowledge what others are saying or their accomplishments. We tend to be domineering or abusive in our relationships, impose our own will, and demand that our needs be met and our feelings understood. We have a strong desire to be the center of attention, are excessively verbal and talkative, and feel the need to express everything we are feeling, thinking, or processing. No filter. How many people do you know like that? We are prone to having tension and soreness in the neck, shoulders, and throat area, and are regularly affected by inflammatory throat issues, strained vocal cords, and physical hearing issues. Interesting. So some of the things that I've also come across that we're going to talk about too is just how it all relates to all of it. So as I said already, the throat chakra is a bridge chakra that takes us from our hearts into our higher, more spiritual chakras. This is a place that we can speak our truth and love, but it is also the place where we can use our voice to destruct and to hurt and to harm. So we have to be really careful. When you're growing up, you're always saying, watch your words. Words can be weapons. It's very true. And that comes from your throat chakra. So if there's any sort of deficiency or excessive energy going there, then that's typically when these things are happening, when we're not speaking real truths and when we're being really hard on other people. It's typically because we're having trouble expressing what our actual truths are for ourselves. So when we have imbalances in this chakra, it can manifest as ear, nose, throat, and respiratory problems in the physical body. This chakra is directly related to the thyroid gland. So there are some physical issues and ailments that can happen when the throat is out of balance. So first up, we have Graves' disease, which I thought was really interesting. That definitely sparked something for me because I have Graves' disease. It's something that came on during pregnancy. So I'm trying to sort and figure out why that happened at that time. What was something that I wasn't necessarily expressing? Was there anything that I was holding back that created that? I'm happy to report that I haven't had any issues with my Graves' disease in over 3 years, thankfully. And I think a lot of that has to do with the self-healing that I've been doing for the last couple of years. It's just that it hasn't been a problem anymore. And then also it can attribute to hypothyroidism. So that's when your thyroid is too slow, not producing enough. It can contribute to hyperthyroidism. So that's the overproduction. And that's where I was at with Graves' disease. Graves' disease is a form of hyperthyroidism, meaning that the antibodies are being created too quickly. And what can actually happen is it can actually begin to start attacking your organs and things if it's not managed with medication. There's exhaustion, digestive and weight problems, sore throat, neck pain, or pain in the back of the head. So a deficiency in the throat, which we would also equate to a hypothyroidism, issue can make us feel afraid, timid, manipulative, and afraid of sex, while an excess, which is the hyper, is an overstimulation that brings a dogmatic nature. And by that, in case you don't know what dogmatic nature means, it's just very, woe is me. I guess this is just my life. This is just what it is. You kind of get those negative thoughts and feelings happening. It can also create an arrogance, self-righteousness, or excessive talking. So if you know somebody that just never shuts up, then there's a chance that they've got a bit of a hyper throat chakra going on. So when this is where it's going to get a little bit metaphysical, it might get a little bit strange, but just bear with me and again, try to have an open mind and heart. So respiratory problems arise due to the disassociation with the energy of spirituality. So this energy brings a special kind of breath into the body through this chakra. So if there is a separation between you and your soul, how well are you breathing? So after a little bit of research, it's stated that we do not breathe fully. There's a lot of times that we're holding our breath, or we're not breathing thoroughly. We're not getting enough oxygen into our bodies. So something that's really interesting that I want you to ponder or think about is we breathe, but we don't think about the quality of breath. And we take in air and oxygen, but we don't consider the quality of the air that we're breathing in or the oxygen that we're breathing in. So fun facts, we can survive approximately 56 days without food, about 12 days without water, but we can only survive 3 minutes, 3 minutes without air or oxygen. So if we are not breathing fully and completely, what do you think that that's doing to our bodies? What is that doing to our minds by not having those full deep breaths and being mindful of how we are breathing? Because sometimes we'll be in stress or anxiety and our breath is really shallow, or we could be, watching a movie and it's a thriller movie or something and we're holding our breath because we're waiting for that moment. Just think about those effects that maybe it's having on your body. So if we go longer without oxygen, longer than about the 3-minute mark, then we are considered brain dead. So just think about that half breathing that we're doing. What is that doing to our brains? What is that doing to our minds? There's a lot of stress and anxiety in the world right now. So like, how well are these people breathing? Is this maybe why anxiety and depression and things are on the rise? Because we're just not breathing fully. We're not nourishing our body with the oxygen that it needs. Just a point to ponder. So this is why in a lot of yoga and meditation practices, it uses breathing out exercises to help bring in that air and oxygen to deeper levels. So when we are open energetically, we're bringing in what they call prana, and prana is what they consider to be the breath of life. And what that is, it's not simply air, it's not simply breathing, it's not simply oxygen. It's being open energetically and in such a way that you're receiving a better quality of air, because it's coming from spirit, it's coming from your highest good, it's coming from the universe. You're taking in that spiritual breath as well, and that's going to help us breathe completely. So that's why you notice like these places are always talking about breathing and to be mindful of the breath and all of these other things, is because it is vital to our health to be breathing appropriately. And this does relate directly with your throat chakra. So let's see, meditation, it uses breathing exercises to help bring in that air and oxygen to deeper levels. It helps you open and supply your higher chakras. So that's your throat, your third eye, and your crown. Okay. It's connecting or reconnecting you to your highest self, universe, God, etc. So it really is a truly basic function that we take for granted, breathing. And adopting a mindful breathing habit will help the chakra function more efficiently. There are a ton of different techniques that are out there. I implore you to do some homework and to find a few of the techniques that really work for you, because what works for me isn't necessarily going to work for you. And you want to make sure that like when you're doing these different exercises that you're getting that feeling like, oh, this is what that breath is. That's what that big deep breath is all about. And we are going to do a little breathing exercise. I thought about doing it in the beginning, but I thought maybe us talking about this first and then being able to be a little bit more mindful of the breath when we get into the exercise would be more efficient for us. So yeah, find a few different techniques that are helping you to feel good. If you can, take the time daily to do a quick exercise and you'll begin to feel much different. But yeah, who knew that breathing, a system encoded in our DNA, can help make shift happen? Like, how amazing is that? That just simply a breath, a big, deep, full breath, full of prana and full of all of the things that are helping us feel good, can like really shift some of the stuff out of us that doesn't need to be in there anymore. So it's really exciting. So let's do the breathing exercise. So this one is coming from the Chakra Bible. Hi, Abdul. How are you? We're going to do this exercise. We're just going to kind of do a quick version of it because it's supposed to be a 10-minute exercise. But I just want to give you guys an idea of something that you could potentially try every morning, or just whenever you're feeling like that anxiety and that tension is coming up. Just stop and take a breath, and take a real breath, and think about this exercise, okay? So let me just get my page here. All right, so this is prana, breath of life. So sit cross-legged in the lotus position on the floor or in an upright chair with your feet flat on the floor. Ensure that your back is straight and that your eyes are closed. Okay, so get comfortable. We're gonna do this. All right, so breathe in and out as slowly and deeply as possible. So establish a rhythm. Breathe in through your nose and out through your mouth. The reason why we do in through the nose and out through the mouth is because actually when we're breathing in through the nose, we're bringing in all of the good energy. And when we are letting go out through the mouth, then we're also letting go of any energies or anything that is no longer serving us in this moment. So just keep finding that rhythm. And you want to make sure that your in breath is as long as your out breath in this exercise, okay? So you can do a little count in your head, even if you could breathe in for a count of 4 and then breathe out for a count of 4. And then do that to help set your rhythm. So hold the palms of your hand over your navel and feel the movement as you push air right down into the base of your lungs, making your abdomen rise. With each in-breath, continue filling your lungs and expanding your ribs. Just take it as deep as you can. Slowly exhale. Remember that you're still trying to keep the rhythm and the same duration of in and out breaths. And just keep breathing. So this is an exercise that you can easily do every day. So the book does recommend to start with 10 minutes in the beginning and then try to slowly work yourself up to about an hour over the course of a year. So the reason that you want to bring yourself into being able to have this breathing kind of meditation going on for an extended period of time is for a couple of reasons. It's going to help you feel better. It's going to energize you more. And also it's going to bring you into a meditation practice. So just breathing and sitting in your breath for an hour is a meditation, and there's going to be all kinds of things that are going to come up in your head, whether it be like past traumas that you need to get over, or well, not get over, but process, or maybe it'll bring happy memories, or maybe you'll get visualizations, maybe you'll start to get some ideas on what you want to do with your life, or get an idea of what kind of creative outlet you can have. There's all sorts of things that literally just breathing can help us with. So I really encourage you to find a breathing exercise that you can do daily. There's lots of different things. There's also boxed breathing, which is really good, especially if you're in a state of anxiety or panic and you're in an attack. The box breathing really helps to center you. What box breathing is you're going to breathe in for a count of 4. You're going to hold for a count of 4, and then you're going to release out through the mouth for a count of 4. And you just continuously do that process until the anxiety and the panic and things start to slowly subside, and it will if you do the box breathing. Unless you're in a really traumatic state, then the box breathing may not help bring down the anxiety and the panic. But just be gentle with yourself and be loving of yourself and understand and accept exactly where you are, the way that you are, and know that it will pass. But the more you practice the breathing, the better you're going to feel, and it's going to help naturally shift some things that are no longer serving you, that doesn't need to be in your body. We have all kinds of stagnant energies that sometimes just need to go, and when we don't know what those energies are, sometimes the best thing we can do is just breathe it out. Literally breathe it out. Breathe out, and even say it while you're breathing out. Just be like, whatever is no longer serving me and is not in my highest good, please release now. Let go now. Let it go. And then eventually things that are no longer serving you, that you may not even remember or understand, are just leaving you. And all of a sudden you're feeling better. Okay. So that was just a little bit of like, well, the exercise was great, but then that's kind of a physical level that we just talked about. So we talked about the physical ailments that can come up, and then some of the things that you can do to help you get a better breathing practice. So now we're going to get into about the emotional issues in regards to the throat chakra. So the throat chakra is closely connected to all the different voices that belong to us as we grow. So our voice and communication matures along with the chakra. So it's in what we say or do not say that projects the image of ourselves to others. So if communication is blocked in this chakra, it can result in depression and suicidal tendencies. When we are unable to cope or express ourselves, seeking any kind of help is important. Talking things out or Reiki can really help clear the blocked energy, and also wearing turquoise necklaces can help clear the energy and get it flowing after a Reiki treatment. So we have to do, and I know that this is something that we hear a lot, especially more recently, is that we want to express our truth and be our most authentic self. And sometimes that's going to take some questions that you need to take really deep on the inside that can create some emotion. I mean, let's be real. It's going to create some emotion when you start asking yourself those hard questions. But the thing is if we're not projecting who we truly are and who we want to be to the world with using our voice, or with not using our voice, then how can we ever really be our authentic and most true selves? So it can create an emotional issue of depression, because we just aren't happy. We just aren't expressing what's truly important to us. And this is really true to those that have trouble making and standing their boundaries as well. That can come down to communication too. Okay. Just remember that listening is also a part of communication. So that's a really important part of it, because we can hear a lot of different things when we are actually actively listening. We can hear different tones of voices. We can kind of tell when people aren't being completely truthful. We can tell when things are being projected at us that aren't necessarily about us, but more likely about the person that's complaining to us. So just make sure you check in with yourself and see if you are truly a good active listener. If you know that you struggle with this, it could be a simple block, deficiency, or excess in energy. So that's something that you can definitely help with Reiki. So I can do Reiki in person. I can do Reiki distance. I've had people that have experienced both sides of it, and they always feel better. I mean, you got to understand that life does naturally have an ebb and flow, and things are going to come up and things are going to go down, and you know, that's just life. But if we can keep up with a consistent Reiki practice, a consistent breathing practice, yoga practice, meditation practice, all of these things are really going to help in the long run. So Reiki will never completely clear your chakras. They will never completely have everything aligned and perfect in one session. It's something that needs to be done multiple times. My personal master has like an 8-week program that she runs, where she does Reiki twice a week for an 8-week period, and then they kind of reassess and see where things are at. And usually after the 8 sessions, things are pretty good. And then after that, it's just kind of like a maintenance thing, doing it once a month just to maintain the chakras, because certain things that we think, certain things that we say, certain things that we do can create a block, a deficiency, or an excess in energy without us necessarily knowing. So having consistent treatments is really what's going to help expand the mind and expand the body, and then you'll be able to recognize the signs more when a chakra is kind of out of balance and when you are going to need another Reiki treatment. So spiritual issues that we can come across with this throat chakra. So I'm going to say it again. Things are very metaphysical now that we are getting into the higher chakras, because that's what it's all about. It's all about spirituality when it comes to the higher chakras. So when the throat has an imbalance of energy on a spiritual level, it can make us feel like we are in a state of hypnosis. Have you ever had that feeling where it just kind of feels like you're floating in life, and that you're kind of having all of these like outer body experiences, and you just feel like you're watching your life as a movie and you're not really sure what's going on? That is typically because there is something going on in the throat chakra, and there is a disconnect with spirituality. Now remember, spirituality does not need to be church. It does not need to be God. It does not need to be anything that you don't want it to be. Spirituality can just be about you loving yourself. That can be a spiritual practice. Or believing that the universe is going to provide for you. That can be a spiritual practice. If you are about God, awesome. Then that is your spiritual practice. There's many forms that you can look at, and it's just whatever works for you and whatever's comfortable for you. So we just live, when we're in that hypnosis kind of state, we just live day to day with no real purpose and no real direction. It's kind of like a survival mode that we're in. But when we can breathe new energy into this chakra, especially bringing in that prana that I was talking about, balance, and it can actually balance and activate it when we're breathing new energy into the chakra. So miraculous things can begin to happen. We will breathe in that breath in our spiritual bodies through the crown, and we will gain so much knowledge about ourselves. We can hear our highest self. So that's kind of like the clairaudience that comes in when the throat chakra starts getting cleared. We can start to hear our inner wisdom and our highest self. We can begin to hear those clues. We can begin to hear those flags of things that are not feeling good for us. We can recognize those signs even better. And then miracles begin to happen, right? We can hear that, like I said, that inner wisdom. Just as in the emotional section, listening is so important for communication. And like when it comes to the spiritual level of it, it's being able to listen to ourselves. So when you are starting that breathing meditation or that breathing practice, thoughts are going to come to your head. Some of it is going to be monkey chatter, like garbage. Some of it's going to be inner wisdom as to what's really going on and what's really bothering you. It could be something from the past. It could be something from the present. I mean, it could be any multitude of things. But when we're able to listen and to decipher the difference between, the monkey chatter and your highest self, then miracles are going to happen. But it's really important that we are able to listen, not only listen to others, but to be able to listen to ourselves and what we truly want, what our soul is desiring. And if you are having problems finding your passion and your purpose and what it is that you ultimately want to do with this life, I also do numerology. So just a little plug about that, because numerology is like the soul's blueprint. So kind of what we do when we leave the human plane and we go back up into the spiritual plane, we have meetings with our soul families. These are the people that have been with us through numerous incarnations. We have discussions with them to see what lessons it is that we want to learn in the earth plane, and to see what kind of things we haven't accomplished, see what kind of karmic debts that might be holding us back from a past life. And I can kind of tell you like what it is that your soul is desiring. So if there is a disconnect there, you can always contact me about a numerology reading, and I can kind of give you more insight about that as well. So because the soul that resides in you has a plan, and it has a passion, it has a purpose for you. There is something in line there for you. We are not just here because we're here. It's not that cut and dry. We have a purpose. We have something that we are supposed to provide to humanity. Do you know what that is? Because that's really where we're going to get fired up, and that's where we're going to start getting just those really good feelings and those miracles happening, because we're on the path that we're meant to be on. So get really good at listening. The path will be clear. You can do this through adapting a meditation practice, regular Reiki treatments. Like I said, I can do numerology for you as well that can kind of help you understand what it is that you want to do. So now we're going to get into the crystals and kind of some of the things that you can do to help your throat chakra. So crystals to activate the throat chakra. So this is something that you want if it is, if it's just like deficient. This isn't something that's going to help if there is a blockage, or if there's an imbalance, right? So this is just going to be, to activate it so that it's actually working and functioning the way that it is, but it does need to be cleared out, and it does need to be balanced before you can activate it. So this is kind of like the last step that you would do, but you can use blue topaz. I don't have any of the crystals for the activation, unfortunately, but blue topaz. So this is for deeper spiritual work, or activation before sacred singing, or if there are any singers, like performance singers, you can use blue topaz as well to help the vocal cords get ready for that kind of thing. And if you are looking to connect on a more spiritual level, this is going to help you with that too. And then the next one to activate is more of a physical level, but the yellow topaz to activate the chakra on a physical level, the energy imbalance of the hypothyroidism can be kickstarted into balance. It can also strengthen the nervous system. So if there is anybody out there that's suffering from hypo, which is the slower thyroid, which means that your metabolism is low, which means that your hormone production is low, you can use the yellow topaz to help bring it into balance and to kickstart it into balance. Crystals to calm. So the crystals that we really love the most for calming on any chakra is going to be the sapphire and the emeralds in its raw form, because they're just great healing stones for all of the chakras if there is any kind of issue going on. Crystals to, and we also have quartz too. This crystal holds every color within it. Let me grab my quartz here. So this is a clear quartz. This is a point. This is a very specific what's the word though? Formation. There we go. It's a very specific formation, so it does also serve other purposes. But just for this is a clear quartz. Okay. And if you were to project a light into it, then it would be just like that typical, it would show the rainbow on the other side and it would be projected out. So because this clear crystal holds every color of the rainbow inside of it, it also can be used for any of the chakras because it can resonate on any of those color levels. So it will draw in the energy of the color that you're trying to associate with. So if it is the throat chakra, it can draw in the energy of the blue color. And it'll direct it into the chakra that it needs. This isn't exactly a crystal point, but you can see that it does have a point on it. So if you did have a point without all this other cluster around it, what you could do is you could use it to concentrate the energy. You want to have the point directed right at the chakra that we're trying to calm. Okay. And then there's also like a gem elixir that you can make. I've done a couple of gem elixirs and they're really great. So what you would do is you would take either the sapphire or the emerald or the clear quartz, and then you would boil it in water. I think it's about 10 to 20 minutes. You boil it in water, and what it's going to do is that crystal is going to be infused with the water, and then you can drink the water, and then that's going to help calm all of the chakras. So if you're just having a completely out of whack, like everything is off, drinking a gem elixir can really help just calm everything down and kind of bring it back to center. And then, I just got to grab my chakra pendant here. What is it tangled up in? Sorry, close up. There we go. All right, so crystals to balance. So we have, so this is my chakra pendant, and this is turquoise right here. Okay, so you see we've got root, we've got sacral, we've got solar, we've got heart, and we've got throat. Throat is turquoise. And turquoise is a protective stone, generally, so you can use that to help protect your energy as well. But it also, the color of it resonates with the vibration of the chakra, so it creates a natural balance. And then there's also another one, I'm not entirely sure the pronunciation of this, and I don't have it to show you, but chrysocolla. It's a beautiful, like turquoise, green, aqua color. It is just absolutely, it's a beautiful, beautiful stone. Hopefully I can get one soon. And it just aligns and balances, but it can also dispel fears. So if you're having a lot of fear-based thoughts, a lot of fearful things are coming up for you, you can meditate with this stone, or you can wear it, or there's lots of things that you can do with it to help you. And then lastly, we have essential oils that can help. So the oils that can help that resonate on the level of the throat chakra is lavender, Roman chamomile, and then rosemary, thyme, or sage. They all resonate with the energy of the throat chakra as well. And then there's a couple of other things that you can do too that's going to help the throat chakra, especially when it comes to sounds and then mantras. This is something that I want to get into a little bit, because mantras can really, really, really help. And it kind of goes along with sound therapy a little bit. But if anybody knows or follows Kundalini Yoga, you know that they are all about mantras and mudras. We're going to get into those things, but just for the throat chakra itself, mantras are different things that you would say to either vibrate an energy into the body. And then the same thing with sound, like the sounds can vibrate the energy into the body as well. So, you know, I have my singing bowl here. This frequency is for the heart chakra, not the throat chakra. But still, when you hear the sound, when it resonates through your body, what it's going to do is it's just going to naturally shift out any energy that's not serving you. This one's for the heart chakra. Hopefully I'll be able to get a throat one soon, because I feel like that's something that I really need to. But let's get into that a little bit. So that's all in my chakra Bible. So just give me 1 second. I'm going to find the page that I'm looking for. So like I said, we're getting into the metaphysical stuff now. We're talking about mantras and mudras and all these other things, sound therapies, just because it's all about frequency. And each chakra does align with a certain frequency. So frequency is just like sound and how we hear it, like how many hertz is it, because that actually does resonate with the different chakras. So your lower chakras are lower frequencies, and as you go up, it goes to a higher frequency. And these are some of the sounds and stuff that we can do. So again, mantras are like the things that we can say, and we're using our voice to create a vibration within our body to help. So mantras to help with the throat chakra. So what it says when we're getting into mantras is, find a place where you will not be distracted by voices or other noises. Sit motionless and poised. Breathe quietly and rhythmically through your nostrils and send energy down into the abdomen. Complete yogic breath. Begin to tone a soft and gentle I out loud, benefiting the throat region and its chakra. Maintain a relaxed and passive attitude towards anything that tries to distract you. So here it does have the different sounds that you would make for each chakra, but I'm just going to focus on the throat today. So the throat is the I. So we're just going to go I, and you'll feel the vibration through your body. And what it is it's going to start clearing out. So if this is deficient or excessive, it's going to start letting the energy flow a little bit better. So there's different mantras that you can use too. I have a list here of different religious mantras that you can use. I'm going to, because I don't know how to pronounce a lot of these things that are by any other culture. So I'm just going to go to the Christian one. But if you are interested in Buddhist, Ski, Hindu, Islamic, Jewish, Sufi, Sai Baba, then you can just message me and I can let you know what the mantra is for the associated religion if you'd like. So mantras from the Christian is the Alleluia. So you get Alleluia. And what that is, it's praise the Lord. And then Ave Maria, like we know these ones, right? But you can say these things, that's Hail Mary and Mo Christus. And that's Christ to me. And like, seriously, all that's doing is that's creating a vibration in the throat that's going to help move the energy of the throat chakra. So if you're having trouble speaking your truth, having trouble finding your passion, having trouble like being your most authentic self or any of those things, just try some things to maybe help you out. So whether that be crystals, whether that be essential oil, whether that be mantras, or you can start looking into Kundalini yoga and looking at different mantras and mudras, because that can all really, really help you too. And then let's get into the yoga position. So this is the last one that we're going to do. The last little tip here to help you with your throat chakra is the yoga poses. And we have, first is the bow pose. Okay, so you're going to start like this, and then you want to try to bring yourself up as far as you can, because as you can see, like the throat is nice and open and it's getting stretched. So that's going to help the chakra. And then next we have the lion pose. This one's kind of funny. So you're going to start like this with your knees bent, kind of sitting on your feet. Okay. And then just want to make some silly faces where you're stretching out your whole face, like really stretching everything out to relieve any tensions that are going on here, because the throat chakra is also associated with your mouth and your ears, right? So that's this whole region. So you want to get that stretched out really, really well so that it can let go of any tension that might be holding on in there. And then we've got this sitting forward bend. So you would sit on the floor as perpendicular as you can with your feet pointed upwards. Okay, and then you want to move into here if you can, as close as you can. And then when you get a little bit better or a little bit more flexible, then you can start going into that pose there. So those are the different yoga positions that you can use to help out your throat chakra as well. But if you are having any issues with any of your chakras, or things are feeling unbalanced, or things are feeling kind of not really sure, emotions are kind of running wild, I do highly recommend a Reiki treatment. You can find somebody locally to you if you'd rather go somewhere, or there's distance Reiki as well that I can perform. My rates are really good. And then we can always go through like spiritual coaching as well, so that you can talk some of that stuff out, because that will also help clear out the chakra. And then I can help you look at things maybe just a little bit differently, so that you can work on flipping that script, or choose again, or choose a different story, because it doesn't have to be the same story all the time. We can change it. It can be different. It doesn't have to be, well, this is just my life and this is just the way it is and everything sucks. It's like, well, no, it doesn't have to be like that. You can communicate with somebody that's going to actively listen to you, that's going to make you feel like you're not wrong for feeling the way that you've been feeling. And then the Reiki will just help clear out any of the stagnant energies that don't want to be there anymore. It can clear out your auric field so that you're not attracting things that you don't necessarily want. It can help clear out some of that negative talk that's happening, along with a couple of other techniques that I would also implore you to do, like a gratitude journal. Finding 5 gratitudes each day can really, really help, because that can just help shift the mindset as well. So it's just whatever you feel comfortable doing, but I do highly recommend trying some distance Reiki. It will really help clear things up for you. And I would be happy to be the practitioner to do that for you. So that was your lesson on the throat chakra today. I'll hang out for a second and see if there's any questions at all about the throat chakra, about mantras, about sound therapy, anything that you want to know. I am here to answer your questions. And then next week we will be back with the third eye chakra. I'm really excited about that one. It again is going to be pretty metaphysical. It's going to be very spiritual because we are into the spiritual chakras now. Your lower chakras is all about it's more so about your physical body and physical ailments. And then we're getting into now more spiritual and emotional issues and ailments with that. Hi, Mohammed. Alrighty. Let's give it one more second, see if anything else comes through. But as you can see, I'm in my office space today. I'm very happy to be back into my office. I got my crystals and my altar and everything all set up in here. I did a Reiki treatment this morning for somebody. It was really good, and it felt so good to be in this space. It was great. All right, I'm not seeing anything else come through, so I hope that this was beneficial for you. Maybe get you thinking about something a little bit differently, trying something new, getting a little daily routine of being mindful of your breath, maybe starting the morning with some really good deep cleansing breaths just to help you start your day a little bit better. And when you are in that anxiety or panic, that you take a moment to be mindful of your breath and make sure that you are breathing deeply to help you get out of that situation. So again, anytime you have any questions, you can always leave a comment or a post for me or message me. I'm an open book and I love to share. Have a great day. Bye.